Identity theft is one of the most valuable assets. If your identity is stolen, your name, your address, your date of birth provide enough information for someone to pretend to be you. And in that way, they create another you. And in doing so, an identity thief can use a number of methods to find out your personal information and will use it to open bank accounts, take out credit cards, and apply for state benefits in your name. In other words, criminals abuse the personal data or identity details of an innocent victim to impersonate them or to create a fake identity in order for personal and material gain. In May 2015, the BBC News reported that the number of people falling victim to identity theft in the UK had risen by almost a third, and that criminals were increasingly using internet forums to buy and sell data using the information to open bank accounts, obtain credit cards, and commit fraud in other people's names. In fact, the article went on to suggest that the UK's fraud prevention agency, CIFAS, reported that the number of victims rose 31% to 32,058 in the first 3 months of 2015, compared to the same period in 2014. When we break that figure down, 32,058 in the first 3 months, that on average is 10,686 victims a month. 2,466 victims a week, and 352 victims per day. In January 2012, the National Fraud Authority, which runs Action Fraud, the UK's National Reporting Centre for Fraud and Internet Crime, surveyed a nationally representative sample of adults totaling 4,000. They sampled them online, and the results revealed that 9.4% had been the victim of identity fraud in the previous 12 months. The overall estimated individual loss from identity theft was totaled at 1.2 billion. And 4 years later today, I'm sure it's likely to have risen much more. So, what's the relevance of this identity theft? How does it relate back to the very relevance of our presence here today? The significance of this is simple, and I take that significance and echo the sentiments of a scholar that I regard very highly as well, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, who comments upon this in one of his lectures. As a Muslim community on a national and an international stage, we have been victims of identity theft. The theft of our very own Muslim identity. Some people have stolen the identity of our religion. They claim to be acting in the name of our religion. In the course of doing so, they are committing crimes so heinous and acting so savagely in their activities when it's assessed against the law of any land. They act out of anger and vengeance and ignorance. Yet they claim to be people following scholars. They have stolen the identity of the scholars also. Yet they've no scholastic training. Yet they don the garb of a scholar by means of fabrication and forgery. They simply lack the credentials. Now, we also know that in fighting identity theft, mechanisms are put in place in order to monitor and address suspicious activity. And sometimes an organization or a bank, for example, may call you as a potential victim to ask you if these transactions on your account or in your bank were genuinely made by you. Most of you, I'm sure, will have experienced that at some time or another. But simultaneously, as Muslims, we need to monitor and address the very suspicious activity of those proclaiming to be following the path of the Prophet. That we as Muslims from different traditions, be they Sunni, be they Shia, be they otherwise, who love and honor and revere that person. On the other hand, there are those who proclaim to follow the path of the Prophet, while it's evident that their tongues belie their deeds. One noble example of challenging that suspicious activity is through initiatives like Love Muhammad, this national campaign that unites the Sunni and Shia communities to reach the very hearts and the very minds of those who may have heard the name of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, but know nothing more about him. From the very darkness of having our identity stolen, initiatives such as Love Muhammad reclaim our identity to shed light on the reality and the truth that is behind our true identity, so that as Muslims we can demonstrate and we can share his true value, his true worth, and the universality of his message. So, in unison, we stand to proclaim that we will not permit that minority to continue creating mischief, sowing corruption in this age of barbaric chaos, confusion, and fear. This is not what we associate with that noble, gentle personality we call Muhammad. We know a Muhammad referred to by his society, be they friend or be they foe, as Al-Amin, the truthful, as As-Sadiq, the trustworthy, because of his kindness, his honesty and his integrity. We know a Muhammad of forbearance and forgiveness, who forgave the assassin who mutilated the body of his uncle Hamza. We know a Muhammad when in a position to show vengeance. When in a position to show vengeance, he showed mercy and absolved others of wrongdoing and set them free during the conquest of Mecca. We know a Muhammad who taught us to be kind and to be gentle to the respective communities of animals, encouraged others to make responsible use of environmental resources, and preached that the planting of trees and the sowing of seeds were acts of charity. So, let me make this very clear to those charlatans: we don't recognize your identity as one with the man we call Muhammad, the mercy to mankind. Stop your identity theft. Stop pretending to be us by creating another us. Stop abusing our identity. To those false pretenders, to those guilty of the theft of our identity, let us make it plain. We say enough. You people who murder, who maim innocents in your savagery will not hijack our faith, and you will not hold the majority of peaceful, honest, hard-working, practicing Muslims to ransom. In unity we stand, therefore, and in one voice we assert, as a majority, not just as Muslims, but as humanity, our Prophet. We assert our love of our prophets. We assert and reclaim our faith, our Islam, our religions, our identity. May peace and blessings of God be upon you all. Salawat. I know the wonderful smell of samosas and wraps, from what I can see here, has been wafting under the noses of most. We will be now taking an opportunity to take some light refreshments and some opportunity to network. And as Sheikh Kasuri had said, it's an opportunity. We need to mingle here, please. Don't talk to the people you already know, talk to those you don't know. So please, enjoy yourselves for the rest of the evening, and thank you for your attendance. Jazakallah khair.